on to it. So this is it, last one, after just a month under 6.5 years of my life that I've documented on these videos. So I want to do, there's a few things I want to cover, because there's been a lot of big changes in my life, and there'll be a few more coming very soon that will make it inadvisable to do these, and you'll see why when we cover them. Now, this is what the majority of the Waynecast recorded on an old knackered ZI-8 Kodak. That's where the wobbly cam, because I was always holding it like this and talking to the camera there, you know. It still works, but it's obviously an ancient piece of kit now. So I sort of dumped that one. Now lately, just got one of these from Microsoft. If you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you'll know that Microsoft were nice enough to give me, not sure if you can read that, probably in focus. I hope it's in focus anyway. My son actually pulled focus on me for this thing earlier on before he went to school. So I'm out of focus, I'm blaming Kane. But yeah, nice little development form from Microsoft. If you look on the blog, you'll see that I've been busy on the tech front with Project Surat. If you haven't seen it, go to the blog, have a read, you know, but I promise you it's impressive, it's something different. So I started these 6.5 years ago. Well, 6 years, 5 months. In fact, I've got some figures I put on my blog a while ago. Now, the first one was recorded on Halloween 2007. I was nobody ever heard of me. I was just some strange Geordie bloke, you know, with a camera. Now, this will make it 313 separate videos, although this is Waynecast 150. They've been recorded all over the world. You know, Iceland, Vienna, Potsdam, Berlin, Dublin, Vancouver, the Netherlands, Las Vegas, in the middle of fucking nowhere, in houses, it's been, you know, hotels everywhere. London, so all sorts. I only ever started, as I said before, to keep in touch with mates of mine that, you know, were working away. At the time I wasn't working away, I was stuck at home. Right? Kane was, he'd be about, 18 months, 2 years old, something like that. The only reason you would have heard of me at the time, this was pre-Mudbox days, you know, it was during the Mudbox hiatus after it had been bought by Autodesk, and then they rested it for a few years. Was if you kept your eye on Zebra Central when I was doing all the speed scopes once my son was ill, which I thought, you know, we'll take the mask down a bit on this one, because there's a few things that would be nice to mention. You know, like I've covered why the half hour, 1 hour and 1.5 hour time limits that you all use for speed scoping, let's face it, right? Why it exists. It's out of the fact that my son was ill, right? I apologise because the colour that I'm noticing is going in and out. It's just the auto ISO, because I can't be asked to set it over the camera. But it was all down to Kane being ill. Speed scopes, the fastest speed scope was about, you know, 4 hours or something. So my message is this: you can call it what you like. Call it lunch crunch, you know, call it, you know, whatever. It's still a fucking speed scope. And if you're using those time limits, you've got to make you think, or rather you've got Kane to thank. We'll actually meet Kane later on, once he gets back from school at dinner time. I'm going to go pick him up. And I thought I'd do a video with Kane and show you the little tiny baby in the first one is now an 8.5-year-old lad, you know, he's nearly as big as me. So I really rarely, if ever, put my kids on these videos, but I thought it was a good one today because it will help to illustrate some of the things I'm going to cover as well. So, you know, I did try and get people to cut the half hour, which is the fastest one most people do, down to 14 minutes. And I honestly thought that when I put the 40-minute speed scope up, everybody's going to do them. And nobody has. If they have, I've never seen them. I've never been asked to judge a speed scope competition, which is ironic, because I'm the guy that came up with the fucking timeline in the first place. I think when people started changing the names, when I bought the domain speedscope.com and put down the story of how speed scope as we know it today, yes it existed, but the time limits were different. Why it exists, it's on there. There was actually at one point, I was going to put what I consider the best speed scopers in the world in one place. I might still do that one day. I've got permission off a lot of people, but this was like 3-4 years back, so it still stands a permission, you know. And I thought it'd be interesting so people to see what I think are the guys at the cutting edge, right, when it comes to speed sculpting. And I promise you it will be full of people with me, right? There's a load of guys out there that are really doing special stuff. Initially nobody saw the reason for it, you know. But I want to cover this one more the good side and the bad side of VFX, working in 3D, right? Now, the good side, on the 18th of March this year, which is probably going to be after I put this video up, because I'm not going to put it up until right close to the line, I start as the senior environment artist at Rockstar North in Edinburgh. If you know Rockstar North, you know what they work on, and that's all I can say. That'll be me out of the visual effects side for a considerable time. It also means that due to my paranoia of doing these things, you know, so when I was working on Last Days on Mars, right, which is empty, it's just out on Blu-ray and DVD. I haven't got a copy yet, I've really seen the fucking film, you know, but it means that when I'm in the middle of a big project, I don't do these videos very often because there's always the chance that you will accidentally slip up and not catch it before you put it out. And the bigger the project, the more important it is. Now, Rockstar put out some very, very big titles, as you know, and are apparently now the biggest game company in the world. So that's where I'll be working, you know. I'll be the senior environment artist. Yay for me. Gotta admit, I'm quite sort of pleased about that. And that's the good side. You've seen me go from nobody if you watch all these videos. And I know some people have watched them all. And in fact, one guy watched them all back to back over 2 days, which I think he deserves a medal as big as a bin lid. Yeah, I can't remember his name at the moment, you know. But I've went all over the world. I've been all sorts of new places, you know. But it's came at a cost. That's what people forget. It costs you more than you realise. That's what I want to cover. There's plenty of things on the good side, the cool side of going to, you know, Las Vegas and, you know, sitting there with sort of like guys like Neil Blevins and Kim Lee and, you know, Paul Neal and guys that, you know, you recognise online, and they recognise me from online, you know, but there's still sort of, it's really cool to be able to sit down with guys, and like, you know, guys at the top of Autodesk, sort of media entertainment division, and sit down there and sit and get drunk with them, you know, and I'm just a lad from fucking Consett, that's all I am, you know. I've always said it's quite unique, my generation, whether it's people like me or Glenn Sullivan, because we were the last generation that grew up without computers and phones and the internet and things like that. So to me, this is all going to be still magical until the day I die. The fact that I can take something out of my head now, I can make it on a computer and sculpt it. Then I can hand it over, either be a game, a film, a TV show. I can have it 3D printed and put it on my shelf. Now you tell me that's not cool. You know, it's, to me that will always be magical, and hopefully my enthusiasm does come over. But yes, I'm going to pause this video because I'm not sure if this is going to respect the 15-minute time limit with the hacked firmware and the 5D or not, but if it doesn't, then it's best to cut this into sections, I think. And then we'll cover in the next bit is what I call the negative side of 3D, the side that nobody ever covers. And I figure it's about time, because it's only right that guys are getting into this now, and there's young lads, young lasses going into 3D and they have a rosy idea of what it's like. I want to show them, yeah, some really good things can happen. It can change your life, it's changed mine. Or, you know, it can go bad, or you can end up with a price that you might not be willing to pay, but I've got to make you aware of it beforehand. See you in a second. So, let's have a little talk about the side of 3D that nobody ever covers. Now, first of all, excuse me, I'll keep looking down there because that's where the Mac is. I'm using some monitor, so I'll turn it on slightly. And that's my bloody phone going again. It never stops with this whole Rockstar thing. I've kept it quiet, I haven't said anything publicly for a reason. I didn't want to count the chickens before they were hatched. I did say when I went up to Edinburgh that I was going up to do something, but yeah, it was an interview at Rockstar Games. It went very well, a 45-minute interview. Let's just say it lasted significantly longer than that, which is always a good sign. and all sorts of things happened since then. So yeah, they offered me the job. I've taken it. I can't discuss in detail now or in the future anything I may or may not be working on, or any technology I may be coming up with. There's some things I will have to keep under wraps. It's why also the likes of Project Zero, why I've got this out now. There's an element of protection in that because some of my ideas, now they're not hiring me to program, right? And some of the stuff I've already worked on, I want to make sure that people are aware that I have it before I started Rockstar. There is interest in Project Zero. We've got a couple of very large firms, and no, it's not Autodesk. They're interested at the moment in helping out, but I'm in no hurry. I'm not a greedy man. I'm not interested in making millions of pounds off this. I just want to hand it off onto somebody who's prepared to make it what it can be, because I won't have the time. So when you're working in 3D, the good side is always there, right? You always see that one day, if you work hard enough and the stars align, you'll end up producing fantastic art, right? One day you'll come up with one. Everybody has one model or one render, something that they think is, I can't. It's not that they can't better it. It's just that everything's right on it, and every artist has it. Okay, and has that moment, and what you've got to ask yourself is it worth the cost? Now, I'm not trying to put anybody off. What I'm trying to do is give you a reality check. If you're starting out in 3D, let me outline recent events. So, what cost 3D? Now, I know that some people get really pissed off when I come up with things, as if they all say I'm fucking like Geordie Yoda or something. But I'm a very intelligent man, Some people might have worked it out all by themselves. I'm a strange fucker, but I do have a brain on me. Now, what it cost me recently is my relationship. Now yes, me and Kat are still on great terms. It was down to the fact we simply grew apart with me being away. Like, I've been away loads over the last few years, right? I've been away more than I've been at home. And when I've been at home, I've been working on, projects or client stuff to crazy hours, and we looked at each other at Christmas, we didn't know who the fuck each other were, right? And we took the intelligent decision as adults to say, you know what, let's split now before this gets so toxic we can't be in the same time zone. So we don't need lawyers, we're all sorted out. I took Kane to school this morning. I'll pick them up later on. Later on in the day I'll take them back, and I'll either take them back to the old house or meet Cat in Consett or something. We're not going to be looking daggers, we can start a conversation, and to be honest, it takes a lot of stress out of things. But yeah, so it costs a lot. Now, people are saying, oh, that's just you win, no, it won't cost me my relationship. You know what, right, let me tell you something. Do this experiment for me. Take any 10 people in what I call the top end of 3D, right? The guys that have been around a while, like myself, right? Then pick any 10 and ask them how many of them have had relationship or marriage breakdowns due to what they do. You come up with a number about 8 or 9 out of 10. There is a cost the higher we go. The hours get longer. The longer the hours, the less you have time for your other half. And eventually you grow apart. People are human. So really the blame lies on my door, not Cat. Something to do with Cat. It's more down the fact that I simply worked away so long that I changed the person. And of course she was at home with 2 kids, so she changed the person as well. It's it's not nice. Not something I'm proud of. It's not something I wanted to crow about at the time. It's not a case of, yay, look, I'm single. It's like, oh fuck, not again, I'm single again, fuck. And I see things like that as a failure. I don't like, publicising failure. I admit to failure any time, but I don't really want to make it so it's a big thing, But yeah, it's a cost. So 3D has another cost, a cost that you forget about. The more you work away, right? And as I say, I've been in this industry now for about 20 years. You find that your friends will give you a phone call. Hey, when are you doing? Hey, fancy go for a drink? And you're like, okay, I can't go because let's say that you're learning to do something. You're really into what you're doing. You might be sculpting or modelling. You go, whoa, this is fucking awesome. I can't leave now. Then you have the side where you'll be working for clients. You could work long hours. You could be working away, a million other things. You could be giving lectures or something. You could write a fucking book or a magazine, or like, or doing a DVD or stuff. That takes lots of time. And then you turn down round like I did. When after the split, I started going to town again. I hadn't been walking around the town regularly for 10 years. I hadn't been out at night in Consett for 20 years. And I thought, great, I'll bump all the old friends again. I'll get caught up with them. You know what? They're not there anymore. You know why they're not there? Because I've been missing for that long. They lost me to 3D. That's it. They lost me to visual effects and 3D games and shit like that. It costs you your friends. Even, my best mates were not prepared to stay and stick around that long, just in case I deemed that I had enough time to see them. That happens. That happens more than people admit to. It is possible in this industry to survive. If you're a single lad or a single lass, you got no ties, great. You can go through pretty okay and average somewhere around the middle, and you'll do the same role for the rest of your life. You'll never go up, you'll never go down, you'll never move sideways. You'll do exactly the same fucking thing every day. It's like stamping burgers out of McDonald's, like that. There's people that do that. I know one person's been doing the same job for 15 years. And that, to me, that's not what I got into this industry for. If I'm not stretching myself and finding new ways to do things, I'm trying to find something. I don't find something hard every single fucking day. I'm doing something wrong. Why are you doing it otherwise? You gotta ask yourself this. Why are you doing it? It's the moment you get into a relationship, if you're working away and they're not in the same place as you, you're failing. I'm not the only person who's happened to, seriously. It's never covered. People skirt around. Then with the health side, it's there's another thing that is only now starting to get a bit of like airplay occasionally on forums and things like that, but you won't see big articles on it because nobody wants to fucking know, basically. But it cost me a lot, it's like I've had all sorts of fucking problems, I was spinal problem for years, which I've covered before, but sitting in a chair all day, not cool and groovy. The fact that, yes, I did have a stroke a few years back. I know some people think, well, he couldn't have had one because he came back and he was pretty fine. Well, as I said, I was the luckiest man alive. I lost the whole of the 1990s. I have no memory of anything of the 1990s. People come up to me now, lately, over the last few months, when we walk around town and like that. And he will bump with somebody that I've known in the 1990s, I've got no memory who these fucking people are. And I would pretend I know who they are. Which is very bizarre. And anything that I did back then, I have no memory of. I was relying on photographs and stories and what people told me, As I said, if Cat ever does find the referral letters to the stroke unit, I will hunt them out, because I want to see it on people's face to call me a liar. It left me with more damage than people would realise. It's not brain damage, but it's the fact that now there's certain things I can't do, right? I couldn't go out and suddenly become Keith Richards and take a shitload of drugs because it would fucking kill us, right? It means my diet now has got to be a certain type of diet. That's why I've lost a lot of weight. If you look, I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost about 2.5 stone in weight. Why? Because I got to the point where I realised I was heading down the same road again. I love Dublin bits as a place. I love everybody there, but I was living a very unhealthy lifestyle, and that wasn't there anybody to do. With over there, that was me. I was the one who went a little bit crazy and went back being 17-year-old again. So I had to pull it back. And yes, I can still enjoy myself. I'll still go and have a hell of a night, have some epic times, but I know where the line is. Right? You've got to know where the line is. Remember that. It's important advice I can give you. But so there's people out there that it's cost them, their health, every relationship they have, and at the end of it you don't have a whole lot to show for it, like monetarily. If you want money, go fucking accountant or something, or a manager of some fucking sort in business. Go get an MBA, be easier. If you do it because you're an artist and because you have a drive and you have to do it and it drives you crazy when you do not, that's the right reasons, but still be aware of what it's going to cost you in the long run. That's all I asked. And I thought that was the most important message I can give in this video. So yeah, on the good side, important things now to eat and being involved in wonderful places and stuff. And you know, like me, I'm about to start as a senior environment artist at Rockstar North. You know, not bad for a little long from Consett. You know, somebody who I've got a list of people that certain people in the high-end industry that said I would never make it. I should be thrown out of the industry, and it didn't need people like me. And there was a whole Americanism at the time, which isn't thankfully not prevalent now. And it was basically, it's all ours and you can't have it. But you do see this now at the moment with this VFX protest. My sort of views on that are well known. I have no problem with, you know, the end of subsidies and things like that. What I do have a problem with is when it turns into a nationalist fervour, how it should only be American companies, it's all about America, and especially all about Hollywood. It's not about Hollywood, it's about everybody. I won't support anything when it's just a load of guys wanting their jobs back. Welcome to the free market economy. Capitalist system is the way it works. Is it fair? No, nothing in life is fair. Whoever said life was going to be fair? Did somebody when you're born say, give you a little stick and say, right, we promise life will be fair? Wayne's rules of 3D. I thought I'd put some of these in. It seems like I'm allowed to have meetings a bit longer now. First one, don't be a dick. Nobody wants to work with a dickhead. Try not to come across as a dickhead, like I very often do on these things. Never be a dick to work with, never screw up somebody else's work. Don't smoke. Cut down on the coffee. Never try and bullshit your way through something that you don't know how to do. Otherwise you're going to end up costing a lot of money, and that doesn't make it popular. Rule 3 was important of all, I suppose you could say. And that is, when it comes to your relationships and your friendships, make sure that you give time for them. Don't just put everything in the back burner and say, oh, I'll do it in a couple of weeks' time at the end of this project, or I've got to get this done first. Try to make time. Otherwise, I'll tell you what happens. Now, yes, as I've mentioned before, me and Kat split up. And after we'd split up, and I've got this place, you know, my place, and she's got hers, I went into town. Now, I haven't been walking round Consett properly every day for about 10 years, right? And I haven't been drinking on a night time around Consett for about 20 years nearly. And you mistakenly think that everybody, all your friends, are still going to be there waiting for you, right? And you're just going to bump into them one night, everybody you've lost touch with, and all going to go, hey, it's fucking weird, awesome, right? That doesn't happen. You end up losing touch with virtually every friend you have. I can count now on less than one hand the people I count as even an acquaintance, let alone a friend. And that's down to me working too many long hours for too long, working away a lot and not making time. Because no matter how nice a friend is and how good your friend is, they get to the point where it's simply too much hassle for them. Okay, if every time they phone, you've always got an excuse of why you can't spend time with them. Eventually, they're just going to say, "Oh, fuck it." Seems as if they have to do all the running, and they're always the ones coming to you and fitting around you, and you're not fitting around them. You know, seriously. Be aware that 3D, and especially the visual effects industry, eats, chews up, and spits out relationships. Especially if you have to live sort of in different countries to each other, and you're literally working away. If you don't believe me, pick any 10 guys who've got to a certain above the middle end of the industry, and then ask them this one question: has it cost you any relationships? I'll tell you the answer now. Between 8, 9 out of 10, it has. Often a lot of us that have been around a while are somewhat obsessive of what we do. It's part of what makes us, part of what makes us good at what we do. But also it comes at a price that means everything comes second a lot of the time. Sometimes you don't even realise you're doing it. Some people like me do realise what's happening, but it matters less, as terrible as this sounds, than my work does to me. So be aware of that. It's not all wine and roses and trips to fucking Vegas and wherever and meeting, you know, loads of nice people. It can be bloody toxic, which is why I have a lot of respect for lads that won't do the long trips away, or if they do, they must have their wife or partner with them. I would say, try not to be sexist. You will be working with males and females. Not everybody's going to be straight. Occasionally you'll come across gay people and lesbian people. You know what, if you can't handle that shit, then you shouldn't be in the fucking industry. This is a creative industry. If you are that bothered about who somebody's having sex with in their bedroom, to me that seems just a little tiny bit weird. Try not to be dogmatic. Take criticism well. I didn't always in the early days. Always make sure that if you're going to in any way, shape or form be public or make yourself more public, I have with videos like these, you better develop the world's thickest skin, because everything will come your way. People will come up with things that if they said it in the street they'll be arrested for, and it's perfectly fine online. It's just the way it is apparently. So you've got to bear a lot of that in mind. I suppose some of these rules are more like guides. I would say don't over specialise. There's nothing wrong with being a specialist, but you've got to make sure that it doesn't come at the price of your other skills. It's not going to be in the world's most amazing sculptor of animals if you don't know a thing about ray topology or texturing or lighting or your basic 3D skills. Your basic 3D skills, your polyflow, stuff like that, that travels across so many disciplines. I always wish that I'd spend time learning to rig correctly. Something I don't do particularly well. I knock out a rig, and I've had to do it in production before. I'm not happy doing it in 3D Max at all. To be honest, I'm much better doing it in Maya or Softimage. R.I.P. Softimage and Omni Padre Spiritus Sanctus. Seems I've just basically announced that they're killing it off. Oh, did you ever? I know somebody watching this now, they're going, what? Go and look on the Autodesk site. I'm not bullshitting, they're killing off Softimage. But anyway, it's all on there. I would also say, don't use the I can't program thing as an excuse not to code. Everybody should be able to code to some level. It's not that hard if you're prepared to sit down and learn it. If you learn to be a 3D artist, you can sure as hell learn to program a few lines of C, okay, or Mailscript, or Python, or Max, whatever the hell you want to learn. Learn something. Give yourself some sort of technical skill to fall back on. Some things are only possible in either a scripting language or C, and it might be something that's vital in production that will save a lot of time, energy and money, so it's good to know. So this all I can't code, you know what I do if I can't work something out, I don't know how to do it, I fucking learn. You don't stop learning. You don't say, okay, I only want to be an artist, don't do all that boring shit. Sometimes the boring shit is what you'll end up doing most of. It's not all, doing models for fucking the Avengers and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. A lot of the time it's doing other stuff that is slightly less glamorous. You've got to be at home with that and be okay with doing the less glamorous things. If you're a sculptor, learn anatomy. There are ways of faking it, but you know what? Anybody who's got the eye and has been around a while knows you're faking it, and it will cost you jobs. Now, once you've learned it to a certain level, don't just think that's it done. You'll have to keep topping it up every now and again. There's always new things learned, and also you'll forget things. Right? You'll also come across new stuff the more you do it. So always make sure that every few weeks you're still doing an anatomical sculpt, even if it's just to keep your hand in. A wise idea is, as a lot of people do, is to do it in your dinner hour or just as a warm-up, don't just stick with heads. Heads are brilliant and all that, but you know what? There's an entire body that you haven't touched. You've got a well-paying gig coming in if you're a freelancer or you're at a studio on site, and they suddenly say, right, we need a really awesome foot. Off you go. Make a photoreal foot. And you might think, I've no idea about the anatomy of the foot, and I don't know idea. You look at a foot, you may even find some plaster casts of a foot, but you're not going to truly understand the thing, and to do that, that's what you've got to do. It sounds very zen, but you must become the thing that you're trying to model, or texture or rig, you must understand it intimately. So, you know, for example, if you were going to, for whatever reason, spend a lot of time modelling breasts, then you better be looking at lots of breasts and understand how breast tissue works, how it relates to both the superficial and underlying muscle structure and the skeletal structure, and what happens when a lady does that, what happens when she's lying on her side, what happens when she's lying on the back, why does this occur, right? Okay, this is, I'm not meaning this from a perverted point of view, it's an example, because I know the young lads, right, the first thing I mention breasts, they're all going, hey, and they smell like 5-year-olds, right, and I know you're taking notice now, and the girls are going, oh, bloody hell, typical male, but you know what I mean. Hopefully it gives you that sort of like hint, you know. But yeah, never ever let your skills slide. It's too easy if you're doing something in production. Like in the last years, a lot of the stuff we were doing, there was a large amount of shots that were very similar from a technical point of view, although the shots themselves were completely different. It was the same sort of lighting, the same sort of textures, the same sort of assets. And if you're not careful, at the end of that, your skills have just went, and you've lost a load of stuff that you can't get back then, you know, as easily. So you've got to still keep your hand in with other things, even if it's just like on a weekend for like half an hour or something, and say, oh, I haven't done any texturing in a while, just texture something, even if it's a fucking teapot. Just keep your hand in, don't let it slide, because you've actually paid a lot, emotionally and mentally, to learn these skills and learn the muscle memory. Don't let it slide, right? Now your client, who you might be working for, will have a nice job doing whatever. You might be sitting working on Incredible Hulk for the next 5 years. You know what? That's great. But what happens when you have to go and do an elk? You've got to be able to do these sort of things, you know, and change on a heartbeat. Otherwise, you can be so fucked on so many levels. So I hope that little bit of a guide. I thought we'd have a little intermission there between the series parts of, you know, what I think is a good idea. I've missed a load of things out, but I did a guide to post-production many years ago, you know, well, I did many, but 2 years ago, which you might find interesting to read. It's on my blog somewhere. And I do apologise for my bad chest. I had a chest infection, yet again. And I fully intend on stopping smoking as well. It's because I've had that many changes in my life at the moment. I think it's time to reinvent myself. So, beard will probably coming back off. I am tempted to shave all my hair off, go completely bald, because as long as you know, I suffer from psoriasis, and if it's too much hair here, right, and it gets too warm, I end up like fucking Freddy Krueger in the shit, and so I might actually shave it all off. I don't know yet. I haven't made my mind up. But yeah, so let's move on to some other stuff again. Thank you for this intermission. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey that I've taken over the last 6.5 years. It's not always been the most straightforward one. There's plenty of things that I would do differently if I had my time over again. I would probably have not been quite as pissed off in some places. Try not to make quite as many people pissed off and angry. Well, to be honest, some people get angry at me for no goddamn good reason. How dare you do this and this sort of thing, all in different areas. Well, it's just who I am, you know. It's to me, my art and my music and my program, it's all the same thing, right? So it doesn't matter to me whether I'm sitting like right in the vector displacement shader, or whether I'm doing a sculpture of a fucking mountain, or a person, a digital double, a monster. Doesn't matter whether I'm writing classical stuff or dance music or thrash metal, it's all the same thing. It's all just, you're sculpting something. With music, it's just sculpture with sound. That's the way I think of it. In programming, it's just, I'm trying to sculpt data to do what I want to do. I'm not naturally the world's best programmer, but what I am is persistent. And if I don't know how to do something, I'll find a way. I'll keep on going until it makes sense and it works, you know. But yeah, I'm proud of what I've done, because the original idea behind what eventually became the Waynecasts, that all started because at the time I was bored one afternoon. Kane was out, I think was it an afternoon, the first one was about, something like that, but I think Kane was out with my parents that day. I'd had, for once, a little bit of sleep during the night, And I remember I had this really old webcam, and for whatever reason it just seemed like a really good idea at the time. I remember saying to Carol, I think I might do a video for YouTube, I'll do some video blogs, And she's like, well, whatever, if you want to, So she never appeared on camera. Kat's still, hates a photograph taken. I think I've got a handful from over the years. Well, more than a handful, but, they'll never make it online because it's not what you wanted. And she still doesn't, But it's like, it was sad that we split up, but I think it made the most sense to us because it was obvious that if we kept going, it would have just ended up more and more toxic, and the kids would have been stuck in the middle, and they're the ones that would have been putting up with the argument and stuff, right? And to both of us, our kids are the most important thing, they always are. Any parent will sort of tell you the same thing, that you think you understand before you have children, but once you do, it's always different to imagine. It changes for the rest of your life. But so I'm not quite sure. I was trying to think, before, how the hell I came up with the name Waynecasts. Because I've got my own internal name I refer to them. There's only Kat, Kane and Emily know what it is, and it's a bit insulting. And probably libelous, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. But I can't remember what it was. It just seemed like a really good idea, I do remember at one point I went through a stage of trying to change it because I thought, well, maybe it sounds a bit egotistical. And I'm not really an egotistical person, but it just didn't feel right, It's still me, or a version of me. And obviously this video is it's closer to me. There's still an element of, hey, trying to present it in a positive way and be nice and stuff. But naturally I'm not that nice a person. I'm an incredibly logical person. My life's run by logic rather than emotions. Now it does surprise people when I mention the fact that, to me, my art, my music, my programming comes above every single thing and every person I know. Now, that's a character flaw. That's me, right? I'll freely hold my hands up on that one. But it also makes me who I am. And it's also a reason why I've had not just the success I've had, but also the failures I've had. I always need somebody there to rein me back in. I'm very prone to having what seems like a fantastic idea at the time that I later regret. I've also got a nasty habit occasionally of putting my foot in it right royally. There's a couple of times I've done that over the years. I always refer to it as an internal monologue, right? You've got the sort of conversation you have in your own head with yourself, and there's things you may be thinking that are not really a good idea to tell everybody or to say. Occasionally it comes out. I'm human. It's like, fucking shoot me, you know what I mean? I mentioned in the last video that I don't take what I do personally for me, right, just my personal art and music and everything else, incredibly seriously. It's like, to me, it's just something full time in. I get bored easily, I do have the ability to concentrate for long periods of time, and once, if I'm in the zone, it's just, you might as well blink this like that, so, I can concentrate, but I like to always keep busy. There's never a moment in my life when I'm not learning something new. The way I see it, you have one life. And if you don't make the most of it, it's no good moaning when you're lying there on your deathbed thinking, I wish I'd done this and this and this and this. No, I don't want to lie there thinking that. I want to lie there thinking, you know what? There's still a shitload of things I want to do. But I've done so much. And I'm proud of the fact that, above all, I came from literally rock bottom. Living on the streets, fought my way back, got on my feet. It made me a damaged individual. I still to this day find it very hard to trust people, even family. I will trust somebody eventually, and if I trust you, great, but you'll still never find out 100%. So a good example of this is, I've known the likes of Glenn Southern years, right? I've known Zap for years. Now, Glenn, occasionally gets shown as I put behind the curtain when I'm doing development, and I'll show him things that I have internally that I've no intention of ever putting in the public domain, or ever mentioning. But he never gets to see all of it. Same with Zap. Recently, Zap was you know, he was basically supplying some photographs and things for in a personal capacity for the Project Surat thing. Now he's not got to see that, he doesn't get to see everything. That's a trust issue I have with other humans, right? So that nobody knows everything. And I sort of like that in a way that you never know quite sure, you're never quite sure what I've got in development. I've got some very nice things. Some of these might be sold up by Rockstar when I join there. The stuff that I think is the most interesting for visual effects, I'm going to at least mention on my blog. And yes, I know it's going to be frustrating that you haven't got access to them right now, but if something is a good idea, or in the case of Surat, possibly worth an incredible amount of money, I am not going to give it away for nothing. I'm perfectly capable of either, you know, mention this to Rockstar, or just sitting on this until such time as I'm no longer at Rockstar. I'm perfectly capable of sitting on this. You know, I don't go seeking huge paydays anymore. To me, it's about the challenge. Last year, it stopped being challenging to me. I was going through a lot of personal stuff, with, you know, with me and Kat splitting up, and you know, I was all over the place, and artistically I wasn't happy with that year. I was happy musically where I was at, but not artistically, and it was a very frustrating year for me. One that, you know, I hope I don't have to repeat, but a lot of it was down to the fact I'd spent years doing a succession of digital doubles. You know, very high-end stuff like film, TV, stuff that was seen on the Olympics by 3/4 of the freaking planet in a night or something, you know. And yet still people would say, yeah, but you can't do photoreal humans though. And I'm like, what? I've done a fucking shitload, most of which you've never even noticed have been on screen. I mentioned maybe, if you're lucky, maximum 40-50%, sometimes a lot less. I find it most fun to see who can spot what I've done, right? And the secret of a lot of stuff like that is it's down to a team effort. Yeah, you can do it by yourself, but why should you, when you have a good composite department and good editors and, you know, good lighters? Like normally I light my own stuff, do all my own materials and things like that. Production stuff I take incredibly seriously. If I feel I am not able to do the job that I want to do in the time I've been supplied, I will make sure they know this. And if it gets to the point where, to me, it's like too silly a deadline, it stops being artistically rewarding. And the moment I stop enjoying it, the quality goes down. So it's vital for everybody that an artist does have enough time to develop, you know, an asset. It'll never be perfect, you'll never be 100% happy, but you should be happy to some level. You know, oh look, I can see my bald spot there. Oh no, it's I'm just looking at the monitor over there to see my bald spot. Yeah, that's actually where I whacked my head, that bit there, that line there. You see that line there? That's where I whacked my head off for the boot of the car when I was playing in a load of bands. I was batting away a bit from rehearsal. I was taking my Strat and my Ibanez and stuff out the back of the car, and I didn't notice the boot of the lid of the car, you know, the lock was pointing down like that, and I basically went like that, bang, straight up, and I was just blood all down my face. Yeah, that's where that comes from. I've got another one in the front of my head. I ever go completely bald, I'm fucked up with all sorts of little stuff all over here. Anyway, so yeah, I still get sidetracked, don't I? After 6.5 years, I still get sidetracked on these videos. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, so there's a lot going on in my life now. It makes less sense to do these. I'm sort of lucky that Rockstar did have the ability to see through the character that I portrayed in the majority of these. What was, to all intents and purposes, a social experiment. I started years ago when the first day I ever went online, and I thought, what happens if you tell the truth, 100% of the truth, and basically not live your life online, but make it so people can follow what's happening in your life. It'll be interesting where you end up. You can piss a lot of people off, yeah, I've done that in my time, you know, often not intentionally. Sometimes you can end up, like when I get emails from young lads, oh well, I want to be like you, and I'm thinking, well actually no, you don't want to be like me, you want to be better than me, you want to be a better human being than me, fucking certainly, and you want to be a better artist than I am. You shouldn't be aiming for me, you should be aiming higher. But me as a person, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, seriously. But it is humbling when you see that, and you get emails from all over the fucking world, you know what I mean? And you go to an event and there's people you've never met shaking you by the hand and buying you drinks, and they feel like they know you, you know. Which is always strange, but usually I've met some awesome people in my time in 3D, you know. It's like, I've met loads of fantastic people, you know, Paul Neal, Zach Anderson, Hugh Van Seen, you know, Glenn Southern, and, you know, literally there's a list about a mile long, right? Dave Cardwell, Craig Barr, 3/4 of the Autodesk, you know, all sorts of people. And I missed loads of names out, I'm sorry. Of course, one of my favourite people in the world, Eric LeBrock. I love little Eric, he's great. He's like a French version of me, but with more style and better looking. You'll enjoy that, hopefully. You can put the money in the post, mate, seriously. But anyway, we're going to move on to something else now. I hope you're enjoying the changing of camera angles and stuff. I thought I'd experiment as it's the last one and just make things a little tiny bit different. But yeah, so we'll move on to the next bit now. Oh, hey, sorry for cutting short that last bit, because I just realised I had to go and pick Kane up and there was only 10 minutes to go, so I had to run down the bank. This is Kane, this little lad here, troublemaker, because this is my son. I would have had Emily on as well, but Emily's not very well this year. She's got a viral infection at the moment, so she's not very well at all. Kane, you know, you've heard his name so many times on these videos over the past 6.5 years, but you've never seen him. How old are you, Kane? Oh, you've got a voice, otherwise people think you won't have a voice. Go on, tell us, I promise they won't bite. You're 8, aren't you? You're 9 in June. He's obviously very shy. He's not really very shy. You're not. I know you're not. Well, he's drawn, don't you? Right? Wonder who you get that off, huh? Yeah, go off me, that's right, aye. But, so yeah, a lot of fitting way to wind these up was to sort of have Kane in the shot, you know. As I say, originally I would have had both the kids, but one of them's ill, which is typical really. So I started the very first one in Langley Park when we were living there. Kane was little, he was tiny. You'd have been what, let's see now, 16, what year and a half, so you got 18 months old when I first started doing them. So I figured it made more sense to finish off also in the house with, you know, with circumstances changed. So I'll tell you what we're going to do now, Kane, right? At this point, when I'm talking to you, right, they're going to see the picture, they're going to see in the background the video of me from 6.5 years ago. You know, because watch, if I put my face like this, right, then we'll do a crossfade somewhere on now. They get to see how much Daddy's aged in 6.5 years of doing 3D. But you see, Daddy's aged a lot different than I used to. Saying that, I've also lost a lot of weight now, so. What do you think of the beard?
Great.
It's great, is it? Well, it's still going the way of the dodo soon, son. Before we go up something, I might shave it off. But I want to get this video done. So, there you go, that's the end of the Waynecast. No more, you won't see them. See, I would be tempted to do one on the 10th anniversary of it. I probably won't. I'm going to give it a bit of a gap with a few ideas of things I might do for videos, but at the moment I'm in no hurry. As I say, I've finally, you know, I'm going to be staff. I never thought I'd be staff at this part of my life, but it means I've got some financial security. It means that these little buggers can be you know, make sure there's money to look after them, which means I know that he's going to have an epic Christmas list this year, won't he? Yeah. So what do you think off the top of your head, first of all, on video, right? What's the first list of things you want for Christmas? You see, I can't get out of it then, can I? You can tell her. Yeah, that's probably just as well. But right, so I hope you all take care of yourselves. I'm still around. I'm just I'm busy working. Got to get used to the new team and stuff. I think the first couple of months, but so I will be disappearing from online for a short time until I sort all the nonsense like flats out. It's already have to get a flat on that. Because days will come back on weekends. Once I get the first month out of the way, I'll be back on weekends. Because it's only an hour and a half on the train, which is good. And then Grandad's going to bring you to Opany in the car sometimes, in his school holidays. Right? There. So, if I remember correctly, I think at the very start of the first video, I don't think I had my glasses on, because Daddy's always paranoid about meeting people the first time with the glasses on. So I thought we'll reverse it this time, we'll finish it off, right? Look at the camera up there, right? Not down there, because that's where we are on the laptop, right? Up there, right? We're going to come here with them and say bye-bye, right? You see, here we go. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know, there's one message I want to leave with this for everybody, and it's basically for my own peace of mind, and that is, please remember that I'm not the nutcase that you've been seeing on video for the last 6.5 years. I'm actually a normal guy. Well, alright, I'm not 100% normal, but I'm intelligent. I'm stuck with this stupid accent. I'm quite aware of that. I'm not really, and that sounds like someone falling over outside. Awesome. Just remember that even after 6.5 years, you may think you know me, but you don't. Never assume you know anybody 100%. Because hopefully this video it'll go a little way to show that actually you don't really know me that well. I'll freely admit you know what I want you to know. One of my blessings or curses is the fact that I am good at self-promotion. I've always said I can wrap anything up and make it sound good. As part of the industry, if you want to be saleable, this is what happens. You've got to be able to present yourself in your own shop window. So while this has all been a very enlightening social experiment, and hopefully entertaining, it's not the real me. But again, when I teach, nobody wants to listen to this guy. They all want the, hey, how you doing? Hey, and everyone's the positive guy and the crazy guy with the eyes and the eyebrows, you know. That's what they want, that's what they expect. They don't want boring Wayne. I just want you to know that boring Wayne does exist. Boring, intelligent Wayne who's sitting in front of the computer, like doing lines of code or music and doing models, yeah. That's me. That's who I am. So there you go. So I thought I'd tack this little bit on the end, and I would like to say a special thank you to those of you who've been watching for the whole 6.5 years. It's been a hell of a ride. There's all sorts of crazy shit in these videos. I never edited them, unless I said something libelous or something I wasn't supposed to. I left it in. That was the whole point of the videos. So what you saw was a stream of consciousness that was in my head at the time. Now bear in mind, I only ever went for a walk when I was stressed and needed to vent, but hopefully it, at the very least, you found it entertaining. But yeah, as I say, remember, I'm a real dude, you know what I mean? I'm not me today, I'm a dude. I mean, I'm a normal bloke who just has some interesting skills. But you know what? I walk 10 yards up that door. Not one of those skills means a goddamn thing. Don't think you're special because you're an artist. It's just no different than being a plumber, right? We just get to work on cool shit while they work on U-bends. I think we get a better deal, or they get better paid. So thank you very much for watching. This is all, every one of these videos, none of them have had any sponsorship or anything. There's been no message, no great plan. The idea was simply to show what happens if I stuck a video camera in front of myself regularly and recorded what my life was doing. Thankfully, it ended up interesting. It could have been really boring. We could have been stuck watching me in my front room for 6.5 years, you know, with 2 viewers. But yeah, I've been in some interesting places, done a lot of interesting things, not all of it on camera. You know, people could extrapolate sometimes, if they were very clever, why I was in certain places when I wouldn't mention the reason. There's one particular trip last year I'm referring to, but yeah. So I'm actually rattling because in a strange way I don't want these to end, but I know I've got to. If for no other reason than to save you the, hey, today I just bought a microwave. Yeah, my heating stopped working. You know what? It's fucking freezing in here. And that's going to be really boring. It might be entertaining for a while, but there'll be nothing there for you to grab onto. And I need a bit of me time. I need time to settle into Rockstar. I need time to make sure I've, you know, put everything in place that I need to for my 2 kids. And more importantly, that now, finally, I've got some sort of stability financially in my life. So I've got to make adjustments accordingly. So yeah, the art will probably space out a bit more and be a little bit less, and I might go dormant for 6 months here and there, but I'm still around. I'm just busy. You'll see eventually what I'll be working on, trust me. But until then, take care of yourselves. I'll see you around. Thank you.